Hello everyone, welcome back. In this episode, we have just seen The Secret World of Arrietty. It is a 2010 Studio Ghibli film. And yeah, I'm your host, Leilani, and we've got a few guests here.
I'm Icarus.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Sam.
And we will get right back to you after this. Alright, and we are back. So as mentioned, we watched The Secret World of Arrietty, and I think it's just a really beautiful animation. It showcases a lot of really pretty like flowers, plants, very intricately designed houses, and what seems to be what could set up to be like a family with a really happy life and all of this whatnots. But as it kind of continues, we quickly learn that they're in a untraditional situation because the family that this focuses on, they're all borrowers. So basically they're little people who live in the like floorboards and walls of houses, and like at night and things like that where they won't get seen by people. They'll go out, they'll venture, and they'll get the necessities that they need, which this is actually related to The Borrowers, which is a children's fantasy novel. I believe it was written by, I think it was Mary Norton. But yeah. So what were your guys' initial thoughts on this?
I know when we were first watching it, I'm like, very classic Studio Ghibli film. Like, I'm turning 14 and, you know, very coming of age type story as they tend to be. You know, very similar style as they all are. And I didn't realize that they were little guys until like I think way later than I should have. Like people had already clocked onto it, and then I was like, oh, they're little. I think it was because it was her and her dad going out, and I didn't realize they were little until they got up to like the windowsill, and it gave like a I was like, oh,
that is like way later than I thought.
I think you missed like the first 10 minutes.
I think whole walking through the grass and picking up leaves.
I don't know what I just didn't
like the part that she had like a single bay leaf and saying it'll last me a year didn't like ring any bells.
No.
You know what? Big leaf.
She said that it would last her a year, but then I got really confused because I'm like, is this like, you know, like dog years? Like what's happening here?
Yeah,
like
what
they're
are their
just smaller,
compared
but
to like what that makes me wonder though. What like are their years compared to like human years? Because there are like dog years and there are cat years and they're like different years. Are there? I don't know. Are there borrower years?
Well, I mean,
I don't know. I don't think so. But
they
I mean,
definitely made it seem like they were one-to-one with people years, because
that's true, I guess.
The grandparent of the kid, what was the kid's name? I want to say Simon, but I know that's not right. Sean. That was close. The grandparents of Sean knew that the family that's living there now was there, or at least the predecessors of that family.
Do they clarify that it's the family that lives there now?
May not be the same.
They didn't know that there was, but they suspected that the borrowers lived there. So yeah.
I mean, maybe it was the parents before Arrietty was around.
Yeah,
that's true.
Maybe
when they were just wee young lads.
Wee young lads. Yeah. I really liked. So what I really like about whenever there's like insane side differences between characters, and this is something that they do in Attack on Titan as well, that I really like, where they show like when they're bigger, like from the point of view of Arrietty, the people that are bigger, like Sean, move very slow, and then when we're at the point of view of Sean, Arrietty like skaters really fast. So I don't know. I like when they actually like make sure that that's something that happens. Because I don't know. I think it's interesting. And also, I liked being able to see both perspectives of what it looks like to see this tiny person from the beans point of view, and then seeing how big everything is compared to the borrowers. I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I love that a lot, honestly. I love this movie. I really do. It's one of my favorite movies, honestly.
Similarly to the perspective thing, something I thought was really interesting within the animation is like the mom of the borrowers is making tea in a little tiny tea kettle. And when she's pouring it doesn't pour like liquid does. It's like
one drop.
And it has that surface tension at the top of this little bitty cup that you would see out of like a little drop of water or liquid like that. And there was a bunch of like little small attentions to detail that I really liked about this movie.
Yeah, that was definitely something that I really liked, because like they got the perspective, they got the audio, and even things like that with like the little drops. But then every time I watch this film, I'm just like, so how much of that single drop are they drinking every time?
Yeah.
That they put it in there?
Yeah.
But did you give your initial thoughts?
It's just a great movie. It's really cute. It's really relaxing. It's a very simple story, but it just kind of grabs you, and you have to watch till the end. I loved it. It's so cute.
I feel like all Studio Ghibli films are just like my comfort films.
Oh yeah.
So
it is a comfort
I feel like
film.
most times, even no matter what the content is, specifically for this one though, I feel like it has a lot, kind of like how Spirited Away did. But I just really, really like this one. And especially in this one, I think it was a little bit different because I feel like one of the themes that it had in it was kind of like survival, which I don't know if it was quite in some of the other ones, like Kiki's Delivery Service, Totoro. They're a little more like family friendly, super happy.
Yeah.
But I think the whole survival, because there was the kid Sean, he was very sickly. The whole family is trying to basically just live their lives, figure out a place that's safe for them. And I think that's kind of crazy, but
What I really want to know, because they have so many things that they used as like something else for like borrowers, like the pin that Arrietty found, or like the needle was like a sword for her, and then the like this small bay leaf, like there can be. Are you good over there?
No, I am not good.
So I do like. I want to know how they basically described.
I'm so sorry. I can't breathe.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'll be
we've
right
got water on standby.
We've got water. We're good. Okay, I want to know. Okay, back to my point. I'm still talking. I need to know how they basically figured out like what would be used in like that perspective. Like you know how they shrunk everything down. I want to know what they did to kind of be like, yeah, this is what this like a small person would use this for. I don't know. I was just curious because it was just so. It's just so cool. I don't know. I movie has my heart.
Yeah, they really have to figure out like how to use like different things, but like they take normal like everyday things and then they turn it into something else or give it a different use. But even with like their whole house, like they could have just taken like other things that they've seen and just like put them together, but they're still like so intricately designed in all this, and I'm like, how do you take the things that would be so like they seem small to us, but then like make them like microscopic, but they're so detailed still. I think it's awesome. It's really pretty. And they paid so much attention to all the details. But
Yeah, something I noticed is like there's really particular sound design, especially like that first scene when it's her and her dad going through the kitchen. Every sound is like amplified. Like you wouldn't even notice those sounds in real life if you were like doing that. But they're so like crisp, and I just so much attention to detail with those like the sound design, and then it goes hand in hand with the animation. So
yeah.
Something else I noticed with the sound design, I think I mentioned this, but when it comes to the perspective, when everything, like you said, everything sounds so much more amplified when they're doing things. But if you think about it from like our perspective, you probably wouldn't hear a sugar cube hit the floor. But it sounded so loud to them, also because you're in a high stress situation, your senses are on high alert, so that makes sense. But like to them, that was like a huge like thing, like a huge like stuff they need. I don't know the word, but so it was really loud, and everything they do sounds like it's really loud. But to like pulling a tissue out of a tissue box, I wouldn't hear that. But it's just, I love how they made everything have a sound that you don't even think about because you're so far away from it. But if you really listen close, if you're that close to it, it will be loud, and I love it.
I think the perfect example of that is the scene where, what was the like housekeeper's name?
Oh God.
Hara. Is she like discovers oh no, it's not her. When Sean rips out their kitchen, which also not the best. Like I get that you're wanting to give them the nice kitchen from the dollhouse.
They just
if you haven't
rip it
seen this
out.
movie, that sounds like an insane sentence. Go watch the
but
movie.
he
Just rips it out and
Yeah.
crams the other one back in.
Yeah.
But to him, he's just like, oh, get that out of there, put that in.
Yeah, but it
It's
literally
literally a dollhouse.
destroyed their entire home.
Yeah,
They
everything's
just
falling
ripped
in.
a wall out of a house.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dude, I'm imagining the destruction. Like, I know that they're borrowing things, but I don't think they have the cleaning supplies for that. Their house was literally in dirt, too. And he's just
Yeah.
ripping
Right.
this thing out.
Like I don't know. It. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
there was a perfectly good dollhouse that they could, and then I know it's like the principle, like we just borrow. That's
Yeah.
the life that we live. But why? There's a dollhouse. He wants you to live in the dollhouse.
But the late Hara, she was like, well, if I
Hara?
see them in there, I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna capture them.
Right.
And
guess that's true.
if
She
he
used
took
it
the
as bait.
entire thing out, she would have suspected it from the beginning. And then I don't know, she was kind of crazy.
I think that they should have like, I don't know, with like the dollhouse. I know that they want to be safe. I will be so honest. If I had a dollhouse and things started going missing from it, I wouldn't think twice about there not being there. Like
Yeah,
if I was
right.
missing like some pans or like, I don't know, like a chair, they'd be like, oh, it's gone. They think it too hard. I would not have noticed. But also, I guess I'm not in their shoes.
Also, is Hara like Sherlock Holmes or what? She deduced that there
Yeah.
were little people
Yeah.
from a bird running into the window. That was her
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's mating season. That's
a
why
tiny
they're acting
person.
strange. Clearly, the explanation is little people.
Also,
What?
Why is she so mad? If
What
I
is
found
she-
out there were itty bitty guys living in my house, I would
I'd
be
be
like,
so
here,
excited.
I have a spare dollhouse.
Have a
Live in it."
whole
Right.
donut.
Like-
This will feed you for a month.
Yeah, and I think I told this story after we got done watching it, but when I was a kid and I went over to my cousin's, like her mom put up little doors that she said were fairy doors, and the fairies
I
lived
love
in the walls.
those, dude. They're so
Cute.
cute.
And so we would write notes to the fairies and we'd leave them little gifts. If I found out that there were little people living in my house, I would be doing that as an adult. And I would look insane, but I would commit to it. I'd leave them little things, and I think they would enjoy it.
I'd be having little tea parties with them. I'd
Oh
be
my
so
God,
happy. I
yes.
feel like I'd have like company
They're
all
just
the
little
time.
guys, yeah. Why is she so mad about the little guys?
Like,
Oh.
I want to know if she was trying to, like, did she really want to drive them out? Or she's like, oh, look, I just found something. And, like, this is a new discovery.
she called
And
the
I'm like,
exterminator.
I
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
but
she
I'm
wanted
like,
to get
why
She
rid of
are you
did say
doing
that she
this?
didn't want them killed. She just wanted them captured.
Because she thought they were stealing. Like she was like, they're
Yeah.
taking stuff from
Yeah.
us. So she didn't like that they were taking things.
Yeah, they're
They
taking
are stealing.
one
Don't take my
sugar
food.
cube
One
and
sugar cube
one
and
bag
tissue.
of
One
Bag
sugar.
of sugar
Like,
cubes.
I don't-
How are you gonna notice that?
Yeah.
I want to know how they actually were supposed to get that tissue out, like,
They
without
were
making a whole lot of
pulling-
sound.
Well, I mean, he was supposed to be asleep.
Yeah.
They were
I feel
pulling
like
up-
staring scarily.
That's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
When I watched
She
it,
was
I
Actually,
was
it
scared
made
the
me
life out of
jump
me.
too. Yeah, like it comes into
I felt a
focus
little
and it's his
uncomfortable.
eye.
You're like,
Yeah. Why is he just? Yeah.
Well, if you woke up dazed in the middle of the night and you thought you saw little people taking
No,
a
okay,
Kleenex
that's
box
fair.
and you didn't know that there were little people, would you not be a little
That's-
bit
no,
like,
I think I would
fair.
sit there and stare just to
Confused.
see if I'm going crazy. I think I would
Yeah,
have
you're
to
like-
be a minute. So maybe I get it, but still.
All
I'd
right.
be like, I'm seeing things, but what am I seeing?
are those little people?
No, it's
my
just
There
eyes,
are.
they disappear. Oh, just dust.
just
dust.
Darn.
But so,
Could've
what
had
were
friends.
some of your guys' favorite scenes? Because you actually mentioned the scene that I really, really liked, which was in the very beginning.
Yeah.
When she first enters the kitchen, everything's like dark, the whole thing's like zooming out, and then you hear all the sounds, like the footsteps, the doors opening, all like the dishes, the pots and pans and things like that. That's the part that I thought was really cool, because like visually, it was like this kind of like darker atmosphere, kind of eerie, but then it was like such like an eye opener to her. So I thought that was actually like a really cool thing.
Yeah.
What were your guys' favorites?
I think my favorite was probably the one where Sean is laying out in the grass and like, because we learn a lot about his character then. Because obviously it's kind of hinted that like there's something wrong with him because he just lays in bed all day. You know, that's kind of all he does, and it's mentioned. But that's where we really learn and then kind of figure out where he's coming from and like why he wants to like protect the little guys. And that's also kind of where we learn a lot about the main character Arrietty and kind of what goes on with her. So that's my favorite. It's also just beautiful. Of course, they're laying in the field of flowers. It's very pretty.
I think in that same thing, it's interesting because she's like, oh, I think my mother's been captured. And for Sean, rather than like helping her get back to the house quickly, he's just like, all right, cool, have fun with that. And it, like, she's little. It will take her a while to run through the grass. Like, it's probably dangerous to run through that big grass field. And he could
How
have just
big
been
are
like, all right,
ticks
come
in
on,
this-
and
in
walk
that
for like
universe? Ooh, a
30
tick?
seconds.
How big are ticks for them?
Oh,
It'd
goodness,
probably be
that's
as big as
horrifying.
them.
Yeah.
I'll be honest,
That's
probably
scary.
large enough that they wouldn't be like a threat. Like they're too.
They're too big to
Oh,
care.
too
Yeah.
big to, yeah.
I didn't think about that one. I was
Okay,
gonna
and
say,
also
that
they don't
scares
exist
me.
in Studio Ghibli universe. That's too
Yeah.
scary for Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, we don't like ticks.
don't like
ticks are
ticks.
scary in real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
To a little guy, horrifying.
Yeah.
I gotta think about my favorite scene.
Okay.
Oh.
What's your favorite scene?
my favorite scene is when Arrietty and her dad go on her first borrowing,
Oh, you
and she
took
kind of
mine.
joins him. I
Dang
love it
it.
because he spends the entire time just guiding her through it, making sure that everything's going well, and even compliments her when she finds the little needle. He's like, oh, that's so cool. And I love so much that when they do get caught, he very calmly is like, we're gonna put it down, and we're gonna walk away. And they never, specifically him, I don't think her mom does it either, but her dad specifically never says that it is her fault.
Because it's not.
Sort of.
Sort of.
It
but
is
They
like
did
learning
get caught
how
because
to
of her,
too.
but
they
that's
couldn't
true.
have, like, they thought he was going to be asleep. They couldn't have prepped for that. I do really like that about that, though,
It's
too.
so good, though.
You took mine. Okay, I guess I'll go off, like, my second one, which is more so just funny to me than anything. It's after Sean got locked in his room where he gets out, and he's downstairs. Take yours.
You may have continued.
He goes downstairs, and Hara, after locking him in his room, sees him. He doesn't acknowledge the fact that she locked him in his room. He's just like, "Can you give me some milk?" And she's like,
He's like,
yeah,
Yes.
because she's not going to acknowledge it. Because why would she say,
She
"I
can't
locked
admit
you
it.
in your room"?
Yeah.
Why would you say that? And I just thought that was so funny that he fully just committed to the fact that, like, it never happened. It's going to drive her insane, and it did. And also I liked how when they were looking for the mom, she decided to be, or not, Hara decided to be like, "I'm going to get the milk." And then right at the door of the pantry where she's hiding the mom, like, not even like a glance, it's just a,
Made it obvious.
"I'll get you milk."
person in there.
Yeah, so I think that was one of my favorites, one of my favorite scenes, because it made me laugh so hard.
That was good.
Hara as a character is just so.
She's such.
I love the dynamic of her being like super excitable, super convinced that she's going to catch these little people living in her house. Which I don't even think it's her house. She's just like the caretaker.
No, she's
or
like the
whatever.
caretaker.
Yeah.
And Sean playing it so cool and just never like super calm, super collected, and just being like, yeah, same thing. He's like, "Can I get some milk?" My favorite scene leading into it. Not where I thought you were going with that. My favorite scene is probably when the bird hits the window and it just gets
just
stuck
like-
in the screen for like a few
He
minutes.
just stares at it like,
And then,
What do I
and
do?
yeah, Sean, going back, Sean just, there's a bird. And he's
There's
like
a bird.
super calmly like hiding Arietta like in his
Yeah.
hand. And then Hara comes in, "What's going on?" And starts wailing on the bird's head like a flip flop.
She beats
I was not expecting them to show this bird get like. There's literally a frame because it's in an animation where she like hits it in the head and its head does like the cartoon like clonk where like
Yeah.
goes inwards a little bit. I loved that.
That was actually a really good scene. I kind of forgot about that one at first, but that was so funny.
I really
Dude.
like how I'm going back to, like, I don't know which one you said it, but about the how Hara came to the conclusion that there are little people
Yeah.
after that happening. Like, it, I don't know. It just it makes no sense how she was like, yeah, bird flew into the window.
Bird flu.
Must be mating season.
Mating season. Little people. What? And
Little
for some,
guys.
from what we know, I don't know if this is explained before, and like maybe in the books, but she doesn't have any past experience with little people, so there's no reason in the slightest
Well,
why she should have this.
I believe that the granddad of Sean.
I know, but was
original
she involved in all that?
I mean, yeah, she was the caretaker for them as well. So I think that he was on about it. She didn't like it, and now that he's not there anymore, she's like, okay, well, if they are little people, I'm gonna capture them.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of cool little scenes that were in there. Really quickly, final ratings.
I think I'm gonna give it. I had an idea and numbers left my head. I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
9?
I really have no reason why.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm saving my 10 out of 10. I can have more. You know what? Okay, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I don't know why I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with an 8 out of 10.
8 out
I don't
of
think it was a
10?
bad
Okay,
movie.
okay.
I think there's some things that could have been improved on, but like it's very solid. It's got a very small story, and I like that.
Nice. I think I'll probably give it like 9, 9.5. I don't know. I really like it. Same thing. Always room for improvement. But you went 10. What are you gonna go?
I'm also gonna give it a 10.
Okay,
I have
okay.
no complaints about it. I thought
I'm
it
gonna
was
give
very
it a
solid.
10 too.
10. Sweet.
10 out of
Okay.
10.
Got a good score across the board. All right. Well, that is all the time that we actually have for this episode of Cinema Sitdown. So, Secret World of Arrietty. If you haven't seen it,
Watch
definitely
it.
go see it.
Oh my God.
And we will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.